Hello there, Runneteers. It's Manny again, and I am back. I took a couple of days on purpose just to kind of digest what was going on. I've been reading the blogs. If you noticed, I really haven't been responding to a lot of the negative comments. It's just my policy not to, unless it's something positive, something that I can add that's positive. But with that said, I really want to talk about what happened, but it's only going to be for today. I won't talk about what happened again unless it's pertinent to whatever I'm talking about. But again, it's always going to be hopefully in a positive twist, and that's my goal here, to keep everything positive. So I'm going to start off by saying, guys, if you didn't watch my video on Monday, I actually, just seeing everything transpire over the weekend, heading into Tuesday morning, I had a gut feeling that something was going to happen, and that's when I told you guys, plan ahead, be prepared. My plan was, if I was not going to get into Dopey, I would go straight into Goofy. If not getting to Goofy, I was going to go straight to the marathon. And my last hope was, I was still going to go. I still have my reservations ready to go and everything. I was going to go and cheer you guys on. I actually saw an influencer last time, Michael from Runs a Small World. Great site. He does all the costumes. Great guy. I don't know if he wasn't able to get in, but he was there cheering us on for Springtime Surprise. I, for one, was so moved and excited to see somebody that could have just said, oh, I'm not going to support anybody. He was there supporting people on, and that's what I would have done too, guys. I thought, this is what I'm going to do. This is what the running years is all about. This is what the running community is all about. So with that said, don't miss out on future episodes. Subscribe to the channel. I will give gut feelings when I have them. I'm not always perfect, but I'm going to try to give you as much of an educated guess as possible. I also have a lot of experience, so it's not that I knew what was going to happen. It was just because of my experiences. I kind of figured something may happen and went from there. But the only way you're going to know is if you subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bells and come up, and so I can keep you guys informed with, first of all, more important than anything, actual information. And sometimes when I have an inkling or a gut, I will try to share that with you. So now let's go forward to Tuesday morning, and I'm going to give you a step-by-step of what happened with me, my experience. So I had to register just like you guys did. So let's go to Tuesday morning, and I'm going to give the timeline. I'm Central Standard Time, so 9 a.m. was when we were supposed to start. I actually logged into to my device number 1 at 8 o'clock. At 8:15, device number 2 was open. By 8:30, all 3 devices were open. And just like I said in my previous videos, 2 were attached to Wi-Fi, and they were different browsers. And the third one was just data. So that was my cell phone. By 8:42, I got to see that it opened up for my computer, so I did that. So right away I did my tablet, then I did my phone. So 8:42 was when I actually got into the spinning queue. So at 9 o'clock, around 9 o'clock, I was expecting the spinning queue to change. It didn't. And it kept on, and it kept on. And I kept thinking, once it got to about 9:30, I kept thinking, oh shoot, I missed it. I'm not in. I'm not going to be in any of the races. I had already succumbed that I'm going to just show up, and I'm going to cheer you guys on. So I decided to log off of one of my devices, which was my phone, and check the Run Disney site. I actually, in retrospect, I shouldn't have logged off. I should have stayed on there, but I should have gone to the Run Disney site, and that's when I saw that it was technical difficulty, so I just stayed on there. I had to kind of adjust my day. I had a couple of things happen that morning that were personal in nature, and so I had to kind of deal with them at the same time. It was not ideal situation. So, and I do, for people that are attacking Run Disney, I do like that starting at about 10 o'clock our time, 10 o'clock Central Time, Standard Time, they started giving us updates on when we were going to be able to register. And they kept saying, we're trying to fix the issue. And finally, it was 12:30 Eastern Time, so 11:30 here when it got on there. So at 11:30, I was able to log in, I was able to get in. So the device that I started with, the very first device, went pretty quickly. I was in within the first 20 minutes or 22 minutes, I believe it was. The second one kept saying an hour. Then it basically, when I logged in or when I was able to get in to start registering, my second device was at about 45 minutes out. So I wouldn't have been able to get in that one. And my last one was in over an hour because I was able to log back in to that one. So that gave you an idea of what happened to me and how they went. Now, for those of you who are keeping score, so the device I first started on at 8 o'clock was the one that I got in on. The second device, which was 15 minutes later, and I stayed on the whole time, never got on there, and it looked like it was about 45 minutes behind my registration time, which was about an hour and 5 minutes into registration, an hour and 10 minutes into registration, which was about the time that everything just sold out. So I probably wouldn't have gotten in when it came to that. And then my last one was my phone, and I logged off of that one pretty quickly after that, and I was just following social media to see what was going on. But that's what happened with me. So now, going back to social media, I actually started looking at what was going on, and this is why I haven't really responded in the last couple of days, is because there was so much backlash, so many people talking about this is what's got to be done, this is what's got to be done, this is what's got to be done. So I'm going to go over some of the main ones that I heard and let you know that those are viable situations. So let's start with annual pass holders and DVC members registering early like we used to be able to do. I'm an AP, so I used to be able to register about 5 days early, and it was really, really great. But now we have Club Run Disney, so those people are registering early. So what people need to understand that if they do this for everybody, so I'm pretty sure Club 33, Club 33 people get in early. Now you put in APs and you put in DVC members. Now you're basically going to leave very, very few slots for runners who are just buy tickets to come in. Disney likes those people. They like that because they spend a lot of money at the parks once they get there. So you're going to run into another big problem where there's going to be hardly any bibs left. And once there's hardly any bibs left, then again, there's going to be an outcry and people are going to be upset. So that's one of those that is not really viable, at least in this moment in time. So the second one was, I thought this was a good idea when I first saw it. And the more I thought about it, I came up with so many reasons why we shouldn't do it. And you'll understand. So it was a staggered start or staggered sign up. So whether it be Tuesday at 9 a.m., we start with the 5K, at 10 a.m. the 10K, and then so forth and so on. Or the other suggestion was on different days. So Monday would be the 5K, Tuesday would be the 10K, just so forth and so on, until you got all 6 of the races or for that weekend out of the way. So what happens is now people that instead of taking 1 day to sign people up, including their family members, and so now take 2, maybe 3 days to sign people up. So they're going to have to take those mornings off. That's time off of work. If something happens like it did before, where the IT problems come in and you have to kind of bring it down, then all of a sudden again it's gonna cause those same problems there. And not only that, is another thing that people don't consider is, I talked about the plan earlier. What about the people who sit there and say, well, if I don't get into this, I'm going to get into this? Well, now you can't do that, because especially if you're on the 3rd or 4th or 5th day, because now those other ones are sold out. So you didn't get in here, now you have no option, so you cannot go back over here. So you didn't get into the marathon, you can't get into the half. If you didn't get into half, in 10K, and so forth and so on. And people say, well, why don't you reverse it? And it's going to cause basically the same problems. So I don't think that's a viable solution. I do think it's a great idea on the outside. I think it's a fantastic idea on the outside, but it's not viable. So number 3, a lot of people are saying, how about we do a lottery system just like all these other runs do? Guys, I hate to break it to you, we already do a lottery system. So what happens is, when you log on, you are basically put into like a system, and then all of a sudden randomly it picks. So that is basically the definition of a lottery system. So I do think a lottery system is not ideal for Disney runs. I think it's ideal for other runs, but not for a Run Disney event and the way we are and the way it's done. But again, it's already kind of a lottery system, so you are in the lottery. When it comes down to it, you're basically in a lottery. Another one which I thought of a lot is, why don't we go back to active.com? Ever since Disney, and I used to do the runs where you used to sign up under active.com, but ever since Disney took over, they wanted to take over their IT department. There's been more and more issues. Now, granted, they always kind of fix them when it comes to like your registration disappearing from your page. You paid for it, but you didn't get the email. They always seem to fix it. Active was pretty good. It seemed pretty seamless. The negative part is that there's going to be more fees. So active.com will add more fees. So instead of paying $660, you're probably going to be closer to $700. So again, there's going to be backlash with, well, they went up in prices. Well, they went up in prices because they outsourced their registration, and so they have to pay for that. So I think, again, it's viable to think about it. It might be something that's toyed around. I just don't see it coming. So far what you've seen is a problem that basically is going to go back to the very basic problem. Guys, there's only X amount of slots, and so if you got one of those slots, there is no problems. If you didn't get that slot, there's a ton of problems. That's going to happen, and especially right now with the Run Disney events getting so popular. For now, I don't know if they're going to continue being as popular. I think that they will for a little bit more time, maybe even longer, but at least for the short term, it's going to get pretty popular. It's already getting popular. But you got to remember, when it's, the demand is X times 2 or times 3, well, all these people, so let's just say there's 1,000 slots and there's 3,000 people vying for those slots. So those 2,000 that didn't get it, most of them are going to come up with some kind of idea that they were screwed over, or something happened, and so they should have gotten in, but insert excuse. And what I was really heartbroken was, I saw a lot of people making fun of runners and a lot of people that that walk and maybe even getting swept, and they were putting them down. I couldn't look at this, read this, and I felt like screaming, going like, guys, this is not what the running community is about. You're upset you didn't get in. You were disappointed you didn't get in. Do not take it out on your fellow runners. Do not take it out on Run Disney. Run Disney themselves, and I've said this before, they are really not run by runners. So most of the people, most of their staff are seasonal. They come in, they're all excited. I've talked to them. They're great people. I invite you to talk to them. They're great people, but they don't run. A lot of them don't run. And a lot of them are, especially the higher ups, are being kind of, it's more of a business. So they have to run it like a business. So again, don't scream and yell at them. God bless them. They do a great job with what they can do. They're human too. And just imagine if somebody keeps coming up to you, person after person comes coming up to you and says, you stink because of this, you're not good because of this, you're not good because of this, you're going to snap back. So guys, just be as nice as you can, talk to them as much as you can. They'll listen as much as they can, and they'll do what they can do, which right now is not much. They got their hands tied behind their back. So there is one more solution, which you can see that most of those are not viable solutions. That is, the only one that's really viable is increased capacity. Now, if you look at past runs to these runs, they are still not to where they used to be. They used to be 17, 18, 19,000 finishers. Right now, they're 7, 11, 12. There's not as many finishers. So will they do that? I think in time they will. I think right now a lot of people are assuming that Run Disney is back at full capacity with all these people. No, from what I have understood, they are bringing in a lot of seasonal people part-time just so they can come and fill in while they're doing this. And so they're struggling to even do that. So guys, give them a little bit of a break, and I think they will come back. Now again, it doesn't help this situation unless they decide, hey, we were able to go back to 100% capacity. We're going to open up another X amount of slots, and so we're going to have a second registration. But again, that's going to open up another problem because let's say they open up 5,000 spots, and again, 20,000 didn't get in, so there's going to be 15,000 people that are mad. So there's going to be people that are going to be mad no matter what. So guys, what I really suggest that you do is just change the way that you look at it. Just think to yourself, I'm gonna I'm gonna try to get in to these runs, and if I don't, I'm just gonna cheer on my fellow runners. I'm going to be excited for them as their first one, so forth and so on. And Manny, well, you got in, so what do you care? I would have done the same thing, and I really have to look at myself and say, you know what, I can't be a hypocrite. I would have showed up and I would have done the same thing. And you know what, guys? There's a chance that somewhere down the line that's what that's going to have to do, where you're just going to see me there on the sideline cheering you guys, recording. I'm not going to be able to run it, and it would hurt me, but I wouldn't be so upset that I would call people names and put people down. So guys, I really, really urge you to look at yourself from the inside. Have plans in place. If you didn't get in here, do this, and so forth and so on. But again, I've said this many, many times. we're all in this together. So guys, let's keep it together. So there's only one issue that I thought Disney could have fixed, but behind the scenes in the IT department, I don't think this would have been a viable solution. Is there was people that already got in and they would have been waiting in the spinning queue for 2.5, 3 hours, and all of a sudden the people that just logged in, some of them from what I could read, got in before they did. Yes, this is where I could see that that part of it wasn't fair, where I think if you were waiting, you were encouraged to wait, according to what it said at the bottom, you were encouraged to wait. That would be something that I would say is a viable excuse to be a little bit upset. But besides that, I did read some people said, well, I refreshed it. Well, it says on there, do not refresh. And so once you refreshed it, you got out. And so that wasn't Run Disney's fault. So guys, remember, and please keep listening to my videos so I can tell you guys, give you guys some good tips. So do not refresh. That's the only viable one that I saw where if you were in there for 3 hours, you got put back into the lottery system. And some of these people didn't get in, and people that just logged in got in. So if that is the case, which I'm not 100% sure if that's true or not, I don't think that part is fair. So going forward, there's 4 things that I think you guys can do, and I can do, if I want to continue doing these Run Disney events. The first one is going to be sign up for Club Run Disney. That's coming up soon, and I'm going to do a video about the whole thing next week. So if you do that, there's certain levels where you can sign up early. They give you the link where you can sign up early. So that's one solution right there. Number 2, keep doing what you're doing right now. So just continue to follow the guidelines, the tips that I give you, tips that you hear from other people, experiences you've had in the past. And if you get in, that's great. And if you don't, you don't. Thing number 3, or the third thing that you can do, is just stop running Disney, which, especially if you love it like I do, I don't think that's a viable thing to do. I really do like, I love interacting with you guys. I love seeing you guys. I love seeing the success stories. I love seeing the positivity that's going on. So I would still like to see you there. But number 4, I think, is the most important one, is just to change your attitude towards the Run Disney events. Because you know what, when it comes down to it, they're a privilege. It's a privilege for me to go out there to record the stuff that I can for you, to talk to you, to interact with you guys, give you guys tips. To me, it's a privilege, and I want to keep that privilege, but in a positive way. It's not a right. This is not a right, to go over there and to run. So it is a privilege, guys, and please, I would love for everybody to just keep that in mind, that it is a privilege to run a Run Disney event. It's a privilege to be around you guys when you guys are positive, when you guys are moving, when you guys are just enjoying yourself out there. It's a fantastic time. So that's it for today's video, guys. I know I went on a little bit longer than I usually do. I'm glad this is about the closest I get to a rant. But I'm not going to get into rants. Starting next week, we're not going to talk about it. We're moving forward. We are going to talk about Club Run Disney, because the next thing that is happening is sign up for the Club Run Disney, which happens in a couple of weeks now, if I'm not mistaken. So we're going to talk about that a little bit more in detail. But without further ado, create a magical run.